Match week 9 in the Premier League is done and dusted. Arsenal win yet again. 1-0. Set piece again. Ole, ole. Eberici Eza with a brilliant strike to help sink Crystal Palace. This is MF Goon, the Arsenal supervillain, and this is your match review. Before we get into it, guys, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Help me to grow this channel. We're all here for the Arsenal, to enjoy what we're up to and to laugh at our rivals. Without further ado, let's get into it. First half started. I think it's safe to say Arsenal were just not at their best, especially in that first 30 minutes. Really sloppy on the ball at times. Seemed like we couldn't string more than 3 or 4 passes together. Saliba was quite sloppy from the back, and Zubimendi might be the most technically assured player in our entire team. Even he was guilty of giving the ball away. And I have to say, it's not just Arsenal. Credit to Crystal Palace. They were on it from minute one. They were doing everything right, pressing, harassing our players, not giving us any space whatsoever. They were playing really well. When Arsenal were guilty of making mistakes, they transitioned up the pitch really well. I think Mateta got the better of Saliba at one point, bearing down on our goal. Really good stuff from Palace. But if we're being completely honest, that shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. This last year under Glasner, they have been such a good team, really hard to beat. One of the better sides in the Premier League. And obviously, as we all know, they famously won the FA Cup and followed it up with the Community Shield. So yeah, I mean, this is a huge 3 points from Arsenal, especially on another weekend where our rivals drop points. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. But yeah, as I said, the first 30 minutes, not good from Arsenal. In terms of chance creation, I mean, there's nothing to say. Like, Arsenal was so poor. I can't remember the last 30 minutes Arsenal played in the game that was that poor. We've had quiet 30 minutes, maybe against like Bilbao, against Liverpool, but it wasn't necessarily Arsenal being sloppy. In fact, the last time I think Arsenal actually played this poorly was probably the opening game of the season against Man United, where I think, again, Arsenal were just shocking that day. Couldn't string any passes together. It reminded me of that performance, really. But listen, we had a huge game midweek. Atletico Madrid, emotions would have been high. You never know if there's a bit of a European come down after those kind of games. And obviously the players put so much into that, absolutely thumping Atletico, as we've already discussed. But yeah, the first 30 minutes, as we said, just not good from Arsenal. Sloppy. Crystal Palace very good. And it took a set piece once again from Arsenal to break open the deadlock. I think it was Bukayo Saka who, again, wasn't at his best. And as we heard from Mikel Arteta after the game, been struggling with illness this week and hadn't really trained, which I think goes a long way to explaining his performance. But nevertheless, it was Saka who won the free kick. Declan Rice, as we're so used to, put in an absolutely brilliant delivery. To me, it looked like Gabriel's headed that ball back out. The keen FPL players among you will see he hasn't been credited with the assist. I think they're saying on FPL that it's a Crystal Palace header who's headed the ball out. Not for me. I think it's Gabriel. Heads it back out, and it's Eze who comes flying in, scissor kick, Danielson, Kung Fu style, and just rifles it into the corner. Brilliant goal, brilliant finish. Obviously muted celebrations from Eze given his connections with Crystal Palace. And that was it, 1-0 to the Arsenal, as the famous saying goes. I guess that kind of settled the nerves a little bit. I won't say Arsenal were great for the remainder of the first half, but we did what we needed to do, kept control of the ball a little bit better after that point, and we went into the break 1-0 up. Second half started, and I think the first 10 to 15 minutes of this half, that was the best Arsenal played all game. Really kept the ball. I think Leandro Trossard was probably our best attacking player on the day for me. Looking quite good, quite lively. We still didn't create anything, any really big chances. Gabriel hit the post. He actually hit the post twice. Once from another set piece, cannoned off the post, and Declan Rice hammered in the follow-up, but a really good save from the Palace goalkeeper. That was probably as good as it got from Arsenal in terms of looking to extend the lead. Didn't really do too much outside of that. And there was a moment later on in the half where Paul Gabriel hit the post again, but this time with his own nuts and not the ball. It was quite funny to see him lying on the floor in pain, and his teammates, especially as are laughing at him, which I can't blame him for. I have to say I found it pretty funny myself. Not really too much else, really. As I said, this wasn't a game that people are going to remember for a long time outside of that brilliant Eze strike. I think it's also worth noting that Saliba came off at half time and Mosquera came on. Again, just another super assured performance from him. He was really good. What a player he is, and what a bargain we've got in that player. Berta, I mean, hats off to him for finding that one for us. I think it's also worth noting Arteta thankfully did say it's just a precaution with Saliba and he should hopefully be all right. Obviously, as he said, the same with Saka. We did worry when he came off to 65 minutes. Was there any kind of issue there? But we've heard, look, it's just illness and he was getting tired, so we took him off before he got injured. So nothing to worry there about Saka. Hopefully nothing to worry about with Saliba either. In terms of injuries, I think Declan Rice also went down, but again, Arteta saying he will have to be assessed. No news has come out about that, but by this point you're usually getting rumours, and it doesn't seem like there's anything too serious from Declan Rice, or for Arsenal's point of view. I have to say, given the start we've had to this season with injuries, it was pretty worrying. The rest of the game, I think we held Palace at arm's length. I think our defence is just so good at the moment. If we get ahead against the team, a lot of times we can say, right, that's it. You're not getting anything against us. You're not going to score. And I think Palace, they only had one shot on target. But that shot, from my understanding, it's actually a cross from Munoz that Eddie Nketiah tries to attack. And David Raya comes out to claim. So, in my opinion, that's not a shot on target at all. That's a cross. And taking that into consideration, it's 3 Premier League games in a row where the opponents basically haven't had a shot on our goal. I've also seen some of the stats come out that the average chance that Arsenal are giving up against opponents, the XG is 0.07. So, our defence in particular, but I think just the way our whole team is set up, we do not let teams get good chances against us. We might not be at our flowing, brilliant best at the moment, but one thing we do is we don't let good quality shots on our goal. We're keeping clean sheets. And obviously, when you do that, it gives you the ability to just nick a game 1-0 and take all 3 points. So, 3 points in a massive game. I think Arteta spoke afterwards and said this is the most important victory of the season so far, given, firstly, the quality of the opposition and also results elsewhere. Let's get into those results elsewhere. Arsenal, in my opinion, our main 2 rivals, Liverpool and Man City. Liverpool just seem like they're in absolute crisis. That is 4 Premier League games on the bounce that they have lost. Obviously dropping points to Brentford, conceding another 3 goals. They are just not at it at the moment. I have to say, things can change very quickly in football. Obviously, 4 weeks ago, they were 5 points clear of Arsenal, and just 4 weeks later, they're 7 points behind. So I think a reminder to us as Arsenal fans not to get carried away. But losing 4 games in a row is a massive red flag. And I think they've got serious issues there. I'll also be honest, Man City are the team that I'm more worried about. Obviously, they lost yesterday to Unai Emery's Aston Villa, who also seem to be really picking up form at a good time after a difficult start to the season, and a brilliant goal from Matty Cash to win them the game. Man City, I'm sitting here as an Arsenal fan thinking it's going to be Arsenal and Man City as the closest challengers again. I know people might say, oh look, but they've lost 3 games. They're behind us. We've got a little bit of a cushion against them. How many times in the last few years have we seen City start slow and, after January, they just go on one of those Pep Guardiola side runs, win 14, 15 games in a row and just power their way to the title? Oh yeah, I've got to say, 2 years in a row, I've got some scars from title races against City. They're the team I'm worried about. I feel like Arsenal, we've just got to build as much of a lead as we can on anyone, and I'm thinking that will be City. I know they're not in second place at the moment, but that is who I see being Arsenal's closest challengers. So not a good week for our rivals, a great week for Arsenal, but as I said, I think in Man City's case especially, we still need to be wary about them. Obviously, elsewhere in the Premier League, another good result for us in the sense that Chelsea lost. Look, not that they are our rivals. Personally, I think they're inconsistent at best, and at worst, I think they're pretty shit, to be completely honest. Another loss for them. I don't think they're going to be, worrying anybody who's looking to win the Premier League title. Not this year, anyway. Just too inconsistent. Their best player's still going to be out for a while, and I think they're really missing Liam Delap as well. João Pedro, I know he got off to a great start to the season, but we've seen him at Brighton. A good player. He's not going to hit 20 Premier League goals, and he's showing that again this season. I think he'll hit somewhere between 10 to 15, be a decent striker, but he's not going to set the world alight, and that's exactly what I think about him. So yeah, all in all, good weekend for Arsenal in the Premier League. We've got a big game next week in the Premier League. I think it's Burnley away, but also midweek we've got Brighton in the Carabao Cup. I really think it's an opportunity for Arteta to kind of ring a few changes, not just to rest certain players. Victor Gyökeres, I think, is the one. We cannot start him. The guy looks so tired. He's playing 90 minutes 3 times in a week in a league that is way more intense than what he is used to. So I think rest Gyökeres at all costs. If it was me, I would go with a front three of Eze on the left, and then some combination of Martinelli and Trossard, whichever one you want to put down the middle and whichever one you want to put down the right. That is what I would go for. I think it'd be important to get Ethan Nwaneri some minutes. I'm thinking he'll start in midfield, and probably, again, if it was me, maybe with Norgard and Mikel Merino, surround him with some experience, and also, especially in the case of Norgard, players who need more minutes. The back 4 and 5, this is what I'm really looking forward to seeing, to be honest. I think we've got such a quality backup in Kepa. I'm thinking he'll almost certainly start unless he's got some kind of issue we're unaware of. And I think we could see an entirely different back 4. Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back, Nketiah and Mosquera at centre back, and Ben White again, who needs some minutes at right back. Again, that we've got the capability of doing that. Whether Arteta will or not, I think it remains to be seen. He might want some familiarity and some consistency in the back 4. I'm not sure if he'll want to start 4 players who have never played with each other, especially in the centre, Mosquera and Nketiah. But let's see. I think we've got quality players, and let's use our depth. I think that's everything, guys. Let's see where we get to. We'll speak again after the Brighton game. Hopefully another win for Arsenal as we push on the trophy front. And thank you very much. Thanks for watching the video. As I said at the beginning, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time, Gunners.